All right, today we are going to tackle a big one, network security monitoring, or NSM. We're going to take what looks like some really dense lecture notes and make them super simple to understand. So maybe you're looking at your course notes, you're seeing words like Vorgans Modell, and you're thinking, what on earth is this? If you're feeling a little bit lost in the weeds, don't worry, you are in exactly the right place. Okay, so let's jump right in. We're going to unlock all of this with just one single analogy. Ready? Just think of your computer network as your house. That's it. Once you've got that in your head, everything else is going to click right into place. First things first, let's pull the main definition straight from your notes and actually figure out what it's trying to tell us. Okay, so academically, it's a Vorgans Modell. That's just a fancy German word for a procedural model, a step-by-step process. And what's its job? To record, evaluate, and detect incidents using network data. It's basically a formal plan for watching your network to find the bad guys. But let's bring that back to our home analogy. What does this really mean? Well, NSMM isn't the locks on your doors or the bars on your windows. Nope. It's the system of cameras and motion sensors you set up around your house to watch everything that happens 24/7. It's not about prevention. It's all about visibility. So, we have our camera system, but where does that fit into the whole security plan for our house? Let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Your notes say that any good security strategy is built on 4 pillars. And NSM, as important as it is, really lives inside just one of them. Let's walk through each one. Pillar number 1 is Absicherung, which just means prevention. In our home analogy, this is all the stuff you do to make your house a fortress. Strong locks, steel doors, maybe some reinforced windows. The goal here is simple. Stop anyone from getting in to begin with. But here's the thing. Pillar 2, Erkennung, or detection, works on a really important assumption. Your prevention is probably going to fail at some point. A lock can be picked, a door can be kicked in, and this is where NSM is the absolute hero. It's the motion sensor that suddenly lights up the entire backyard. It's the camera that starts recording. It's the alarm system. So the alarm is blaring, now what? Well, that's pillar 3, reaction or response. You need a plan. For your home, this is when you get that notification on your phone, you pull up the camera feed to see what's going on, and you call the police. It's all about analyzing what happened and doing something about it. And finally, pillar 4, Nachhaltigkeit, or sustainability. I mean, what good is a security system if the cameras have been dead for 6 months? This pillar is all about long-term upkeep. You got to check your equipment, update your passwords, and make sure your whole security plan still makes sense a year from now. Okay, so we know where NSM fits in the grand scheme of things. Now let's zoom right back in and look at how it actually works, step by step. Your notes break this down into 3 really logical phases. The process is super straightforward. First, you collect data. Then you detect anything weird in that data. And finally, you analyze what you found. Let's see how our home security system handles each of these phases. Phase 1 is Aufzeichnung, which basically means to record or collect. This is the foundation of everything. It's your security cameras, and they're just rolling 24/7. They're recording the mailman, the neighbor's dog, a plastic bag blowing in the wind, everything. At this stage, the system isn't thinking. It's just watching and recording. Now, obviously, you can't sit there and watch hundreds of hours of footage yourself. That's where phase 2, Erkennung, or detection, comes in. This is the smart part. Think of it like a motion detector that's clever enough to ignore the dog and the plastic bag, but it sends you an instant alert when it sees a person trying to jimmy open your back window at 3 in the morning. It finds the signal in all that noise. And that brings us to the final and maybe most important step, analysis or analysis. You got the alert, so now what? Well, this is where a human, an expert, has to get involved. They look at that specific clip that was flagged and figure out, is this a real burglar, or was it just a big raccoon that set off the sensor? You need that human brain to make the final call. All right, we've gone through the whole framework, so let's boil this all down. If you're studying for an exam, these are the absolute must-know takeaways. So listen, if you can nail these 4 things, you're golden. First, know that textbook definition of NSM. Second, be able to list and explain those 4 pillars of security: prevention, detection, response, and sustainability. Third, and this is super important, know exactly where NSM lives. It is a heart and soul of the detection pillar. And finally, be able to walk through the 3 phases of how NSM works: collect, detect, and analyze. If you can explain all that using our home security analogy, you're going to ace this. I want to leave you with one last thing to think about. In the real world, each of these phases is a massive challenge. Just collecting and storing all that data is a huge engineering problem. Then, trying to automatically detect a real threat among billions of normal events is like finding a needle in a continent-sized haystack. And finally, the analysis requires highly trained, very expensive human experts. So, which of those 3 do you think is the biggest, toughest hurdle to overcome in the real world? It's a really interesting question.